What's up, everyone? Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, Anna Kasparian, and we have awesome panelists for you guys on this week of the show. In fact, we have Brett Erlich, who's always acting crazy.
What?
So I'm looking forward to your shenanigans on the program today.
It's interesting you should say that.
Now,
Not as interesting as when I do it with another pen.
you know, usually I tell the audience more about the panelists, but why don't you tell them? Who are you, Brett Erlich?
I'm Brett Erlich. I've been coming here for weeks just trying to rehabilitate myself. I'm the co-host of Pop Trigger on the Young Turks Network. Also, you can check out my own YouTube channel at youtube.com/viralvideos.
All right.
And also Periscope, where I Photoshop butts on your Instagram.
That sounds great. So we're having a TYT extravaganza today because our second panelist is Hannah Cranston. Of course, you guys know her. She is the co-host, or I should say host, of Think Tank, also on the TYT network. Hannah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about a lot of different stories today. Later on, I'm going to tell you why it's a really bad idea to drink detox tea if you're also taking birth control pills. That's a pretty shocking story. And then later on, a campaign pushed by men who are tired of being discriminated against. Do they have any real argument? We're going to debate that and more. Now let's get started with what I would argue is the biggest news story of the week. A woman climbed a flagpole in North Carolina to take down the Confederate flag. Of course, there was a lot of controversy regarding the Confederate flag after a man by the name of Dylan Roof shot and killed 9 innocent black people during a Bible studies class. Now, Bree Newsom was tired of seeing the Confederate flag. She is an activist, and she thought it was absolutely ridiculous that authorities in her area were going to decide whether or not they would take down the Confederate flag sometime in July. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm going to take it down now. So she climbed that flagpole, took it down, and she got arrested as a result of that. Now, she was arrested with her counterpart, James Tyson, and she was charged with defacing monuments on state capitol grounds. She, after she's been charged, she has been fined, or could be fined, up to $5,000, and she faces 3 years in jail. Let's stop right there for a second. 3 years in jail for taking down a flag. Jail is supposed to be for people who are a threat to society. I don't really know or think that Bree Newsom is a threat to society. But nonetheless, there is a crowdfunding page that has raised upwards of $120,000 to help her pay for her bail. The South Carolina legislature is set to vote on taking down the Confederate flag, but that won't happen until later in July. Now, the flag was raised in the State House back in 1962 when it was put up as a symbol of resistance to racial integration. So that flag is about racism. Everyone knows it. Everyone will have a ridiculous argument or debate about it, but the reality is it has to do with race, it has to do with racism, it has to do with disenfranchising an entire group of people in this country. I want to know what you guys think. Brett, make your point.
She's definitely not a threat to society. She might be a threat to flags, but not to society. I don't think we need to put her in jail, but I totally agree with taking the flag down. When I hear her get up on the top of the flagpole and say, I'm doing this in the Jesus' name, that's when I'm like, oh God, you're trying to talk about separation of racism from the State House, but then you're invoking like religion to do so. Why don't you just go up and take the flag down?
Right. Let's take a look at the video of her as B-roll. Let's put the audio down while Hannah makes her point.
Yeah, so I think the biggest offense here is that such a sign of hatred and bigotry is considered a monument. That's what bothers me the most about this entire thing. I think she's a hero. I think if we kind of look at history, people who have set history on the right path have always ruffled feathers. Think about Rosa Parks. Like, she was arrested, but she did something that then made a change later. So I think Bree Newsom is going to be that in the future when we're looking at her in the history books.
Exactly. Political protests aren't supposed to be convenient. They're not supposed to be easy. You don't get any real change by following the law and not stirring the pot. So I'm really proud of what she did, and I think that it sends a really strong message. Now, here's the personal question for the story. What's one cause that you would risk getting arrested for, Brett?
Robbery.
Okay.
I believe in it staunchly, and if I have to get arrested so I can get cool stuff, so be it.
Fair enough. All right. I don't know if that's really a political issue.
I really don't think I have any.
Nothing. So you wouldn't be arrested for it. You wouldn't be willing to get arrested.
I just think a lot of people, when they like, I'm gonna go get arrested for this.
Yeah.
Like with this one, it was like we're gonna vote on it on the 6th. Like, why? It's just, I want to get this last little flag climb in there before they, it might come down anyway. I think it's like.
But if there was somebody who was so hateful about your group of people, or any group of people really in the United States, wouldn't you want to remove that sign of
Right,
that
but
hate
like,
as soon as
to get
possible?
it to, I mean, it's a little thing to try to do this. I mean, the news story's already out there. When people talk about last week in news, they say that like South Carolina is going to vote to take the flag off the State House. She's just trying to get her name in there, I think.
You know what? I have no problem with that. If there's some element of publicity in this story, I don't have an issue with it because the cause is a real cause. It's a real political issue.
Don't doubt it. So when I think about the issue, I'm all for it. When I think about the messenger, which does not affect my opinion on the issue, and I say I focus way more on the issue, but if everyone's going to laud this woman for like doing this thing, it's like, they already said they were going to do something about it.
But it's not guaranteed that they're going to take the flag down. But nonetheless, I want Hannah to answer the question, is there a political cause that you would risk getting arrested for?
I think there's a lot of things that I would risk getting arrested for. I think any sort of fighting for equal treatment or fighting against bigotry is worth, putting handcuffs on my hand. I think that's something that we need to fight for in our country, and I would be willing to take that risk for sure.
I mean, I agree with you. There are a number of causes, but I think the cause that I feel strongly about is our justice system. So I would, ironically, risk getting arrested by protesting for-profit prisons, because for-profit prisons have totally destroyed our justice system. But I want to know whether or not you guys would risk getting arrested for a political cause. Maybe you're part of Wolfpack here at TYT Network. You want to get money out of politics. Would you risk getting arrested for that or anything else? Comment in the section below. We love hearing from you guys, and we'll see you soon. Kanye West is known for interrupting people, especially during award ceremonies. There was that notorious situation where he went up on stage as Taylor Swift was accepting a Grammy, and he basically said that she didn't deserve the Grammy. Well, there's a comedian who decided to pull the same type of stunt with him as he was performing. So here's Kanye West performing, and all of a sudden, a comedian prankster by the name of Simon Brodkin, who goes by the character Lee Nelson, ran on stage and did what he did. Let's take a quick look at the video.
Start over.
Kanye West is so douchey. Like, I get it. That, first of all, what happened, in my opinion, was a publicity stunt. Secondly, like, the whole, like, start it over. The way he carries himself is so unbearable.
Instantly.
I know, it's incredible. So Lee Nelson did tweet about this prior to doing the stunt, which makes me realize it's probably a publicity stunt. He says some people were saying Kanye shouldn't headline Glastonbury. I'm
Both,
sure it's whatever, tomato.
The way to pronounce it is Glastonbury or Glastonbury. So you did it right.
So I thought I'd give him a hand. There he is, posing in that comical way. Now, here's another tweet. I Kanye'd Kanye. That was for you, Taylor Swift. 13, that's her handle, I guess. Hashtag Leezus. All right, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this. Kanye West did start the song over again. The show continued. Was this interesting? I'm going to let Hannah start. Make your point.
Well, I have to say, as a Taylor Swift fan, I say thank you to this comedian because, he deserved to get what he was putting out back to him. The thing is, he's like such a douchebag. You're right.
Yeah.
He has to go with all this thing like, start it over. Then he had some other songs like, that's not how we rehearsed it. I'm the greatest rock star. Like, who are you? Stop it. Just roll with the punches.
He thinks very highly of himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes on Instagram is love yourself the way Kanye loves himself or something like that.
Yeah, I just want to be loved as much as Kanye loves Kanye or something like that. Yeah.
I love it. What about you?
In the great pantheon of Kanye West songs, that one, especially the part where like they were in,
Yeah.
you don't need to start that over.
Yeah, seriously.
But that comedian, for people who don't know, he's basically doing an Ollie G type character, that same like subsection of British culture, and you can see his stand up online. It's pretty good, but he does the whole thing in character. A lot of people think this is like a prank. It's not really a prank. It's more of like the equivalent of streaking or something like that. You know?
That's true. Now here's a personal question. Have you ever been pranked? Share your most interesting prank story, Hannah.
Yes, constantly by my father. Like constantly. He'll I was on a plane actually when the Duke SDSU game was happening, and he's an SDSU fan. So he texted me after and got my whole family in on it for our group chat or whatever it is. I was like, oh, sorry about the loss, girls. Like SDSU had it. Like this entire thing, they were all going back and forth saying how bad it sucked. And Duke had won, but he wanted me to be like the idiot. Like when I went to Budapest, he texted me. He's like, yeah, make sure you see the giant Buddha in the center. I was like, oh, I need to look that up. He just wants to make me look like an idiot constantly.
That's hilarious. Brett?
In terms of whether I've been punked, I mean, I'm sure I have, but it's so traumatic that I've clearly blocked it out of my memory.
You seem more of the punker as opposed to the punky.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I remembered something this morning, but nothing's really coming to mind. My friend Ashton punks everyone. And a really close friend does that all the time. So, I mean, you could ask him.
Okay, next time he's on the show, I'll get some details from him, some dirty details. I hate being pranked in every way. It's not fun. I like surprises. Like if you're gonna surprise me with a present, that's cool.
It's a real controversial point there.
Right. But my boyfriend has this habit of, like, if he sees me walking home from my car, wherever I parked it, he likes to sneak up behind me and go like, "Bleh."
Yeah.
And I hate it, and we've actually gotten into a fight over it because I'm gonna keep it real. I'm a little paranoid when I'm walking around by myself just because of the exposure I get and some of the things that people say about me on the internet. So I'm a little paranoid, and I'm always on guard, I guess. And so when he does that, I think that there's some crazy person stalking me who's gonna try to hurt me. So we've got into a fight, and he finally understood that that's not okay. But now he tries to scare me while I'm in the shower, which is also not okay.
Oh, terrible.
Right? Anyway.
That's way worse. That's like an iconic horror scene.
I know, like, oh, I'm in there. Anyway, guys, tell us whether or not you've ever been pranked, or maybe you're a prankster. We want to know what you guys do to prank other people. Comment in the section below. We'll see you soon. Bristol Palin had been paid over $260,000 by the Candies Foundation to promote abstinence, which means that you're not supposed to have sex until marriage. Now, Bristol Palin also just broke news this week that she is pregnant with her second child out of wedlock. She didn't disclose information about who the father of the child is, but she was engaged up until last month to a man by the name of something Meyer. He was a Marine. Who cares? Dakota Meyer.
Oscar.
That's his name. Dakota Meyer.
I think it's
All right.
Oscar is how you spell his first name.
You're a dork. Anyway, all right, let's get to the heart of the matter here. Of course, there's a lot of hypocrisy involving her push for abstinence-only education, and then she gets pregnant not once but twice through having sex before marriage. And remember, she had said back in 2009 that she guarantees that she will never have sex again until she's married. Obviously, it didn't work out. And look, I don't think that it's usually a good thing to talk shit about people's personal lives. But when there's a massive hypocrisy and you're going around telling people about abstinence and how they shouldn't have sex before marriage, you should probably be outed as a huge hypocrite. So here's what she said. She said, I made a mistake, but it's not the mistake these giddy assholes have loved to assume. This pregnancy was actually planned. Everyone knows I wanted more kids, to have a bigger family. Believing I was heading in that direction, I got ahead of myself. Things didn't go as planned, but life keeps going. Life moves on. Now, that was what she released after she posted her first blog about getting pregnant for the second time. In her first blog, she didn't seem so happy and it didn't seem so planned. She said, I don't want any lectures and I do not want any sympathy. Honestly, I've been trying my hardest to keep my chin up on this one. I know this has been and will be a huge disappointment to my family, to my close friends, and to many of you. All right, so I think she realized that that previous blog post would probably look really, really bad to her unborn child once he or she is old enough to read that she's really disappointed that she's pregnant again. But nonetheless, those were the statements that she released, and I think that she was beyond hypocritical in her stance when it comes to abstinence-only education, but maybe you guys have a different point of view. Brett, make your point.
So this is what this kind of zealous dogma and, didacticism creates. Like, you're not unreasonable if you want to have sex with your boyfriend before marriage. Taking such like a fierce stance on it and vilifying yourself for doing it just puts you in a position where now you seem like a crazy person saying two different sides of the point right after each other.
Yeah, I do not begrudge anyone who actually is abstinent before marriage, but I think it's unusual or strange when people do save themselves for marriage, because I think it's important for you to really know what you're getting yourself into prior to getting married.
Unreasonable.
Sex is such a huge part of a relationship. I know people will pretend like it's not, but it is. It's intimacy, it's lovemaking. You want to make sure you connect on that level. That chemistry is so important. Hannah, what do you think? Make your point.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of like the sexual aspect of it all, I think when this story first broke, I didn't want to shame her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she made a mistake. Like, that's okay. Move past it. But now this second blog post is clearly her PR people saying like, "Oh shit, you fucked up, girl."
Yeah.
And so now she's just trying to come back, and I'm like, stop it. Like, this is a fucking child. Like, stop making such a spectacle of it that you're talking about your unborn child. You're shaming all of these people, and while doing so, like, stop. Chill out. This is your opportunity to educate people, to be a loving parent. Chill out, girl.
Yeah, honestly, if I were in her predicament, I wouldn't have even released a statement. It's my personal life. I understand she's a public figure and people are going to want to know. But at the end of the day, it's her life. And so I don't think I would have posted anything about it. And if I felt enough pressure to post something, I would say something along the lines of, I'm pregnant, I'm pro-life, and as a result, I'm not going to have an abortion. I'm going to have this baby, even if you guys think I'm a hypocrite. It is what it is.
I'm so excited to bring a child into the
Yeah.
world.
What it is, yeah, exactly. What it is like, it's like product endorsement. She's endorsing abstinence. You better like the product you're endorsing.
Exactly.
This is like, say, you know, try it before you go out publicly and say it's awesome.
It's not just an endorsement. It's her, you know, being part of this very lucrative organization,
yeah, it's
making hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting a message that isn't realistic, and it's harmful to society, because here's the reality. Teens are gonna have sex, okay? You can't stop it. It is what it is. You gotta give them the information necessary to protect themselves. If they don't know about condoms, they're not gonna use condoms.
Right.
So they're going to get pregnant or they're going to get STDs, and it's a disaster. So she's caused more damage than anything else, which is why I think this story is important.
Yeah.
Personal question. What's one thing you think your parents would disown you for doing?
I don't think they'd ever disown me.
You're a dude. Yeah, you get away with a lot more, I feel like.
Really? I don't know. I feel like, you know, there's nothing that I'd really be disowned for. I mean, they also raised me in a way where, like, I don't think I do anything that's disowning worthy.
Yes.
So I don't feel like that's a problem, and I'm pretty grateful for that.
All right. What about you, Hannah?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I'm really fortunate. I don't think my parents would disown me for anything. Maybe if I did something like really, really awful to my sister, but that would never happen because of the way they raised me. Like, I don't know. Maybe if I like killed somebody, I just don't think. I still think they would
murder.
come visit me and like bring me cookies.
I just think my mom would still bring me cookies too. Yeah.
Okay, so I am on the same boat as you guys. They would be very supportive in almost anything I do. But if I did get pregnant out of wedlock, which honestly, as I get older, I feel like it's more and more likely, I feel like they'd be super disappointed. They want like the traditional marriage.
But they wouldn't disown you, right?
No, I think at first they would disown me for like maybe a week, and then they would start talking to me again.
Like
They'd-
that old world, like, how dare you, fie and shame.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be bad. It would be bad. Anyway, my mom wants to be a grandmother though, so maybe.
This is what's amazing about it, is like that you see that in your parents at a certain point where they're like, they always were like, get married first, but then they're like, I just want to bounce a little tiny baby on my knee. So-
Exactly. So all they have to do is see the infant, and then all of a sudden they're like, all right.
It's the same
Yeah,
inner
we're good.
turmoil that Bristol Palin faces, where she's like, I want to be abstinence, but I do love
I want to
doing
get
it.
bounce
paid.
on
I
that
want to get
date.
paid for. Whoa.
Right, yeah, they want to bounce on that
This
date.
is
So,
not
so
serious.
just remember that when your mom says she might disown you for getting pregnant before marriage, she's just like Bristol Palin having sex.
All right, fair enough. What do you guys think? Comment in the section below. Tell us what you guys think. And also, is there anything your parents would disown you for? Obviously, that's a very personal and deep question. You don't have to name any names, but you should share your story. Comment, and we'll see you soon. Abortion is illegal in Poland, and it took a number of activists in Germany to make a political statement about how wrong that is. In fact, these activists are part of Women on Waves. They're from Germany, and they decided to utilize a drone to deliver abortion pills to Poland. So we do a lot of stories about drones on the Young Turks and how they can be abused for negative reasons. And depending on where you stand on the abortion debate, you could think that this is a positive or a negative thing. But I do love that they're being utilized for a political mission. Now, the group created the abortion drone to raise awareness about Poland's laws and to provide the alternative method to ending unwanted pregnancies. I should note that there are about 50,000 illegal abortions in Poland. If you criminalize it, if you ban it, women who are desperate enough are going to do whatever it takes to get rid of that pregnancy. And that's exactly what's happening in Poland. Now, doctors are using outdated tools and charge thousands of dollars to do these illegal abortions, so they are dangerous. Anti-abortion protesters surrounded the landing site of this drone in order to protest it. 2 Polish women did swallow the pills, although they weren't pregnant. They did it to be symbolic and to kind of make a point about how Poland really needs to get rid of these antiquated laws. I want to know what you guys think. I think this is a super interesting story. The women from Germany could face charges for this, but maybe it's worth it considering the message that they're trying to send. Hannah, make your point.
So my first point would be that I don't like how it's being marketed. I don't like that it's being marketed as a feminist drone. I think it should be marketed as like human rights drone or something like that. But I think anything that brings awareness and starts a conversation to something that, obviously, if you're talking about these 50,000 things that are happening with outdated tools and outdated methods, which are actually really dangerous, and could also face a whole host of other consequences, that this is really important. Even if nobody's actually taking the pills that were delivered in the drone, this is a really important cause. And I think it was a topical way to make a point.
So the abortion drone sounds way scarier than just like a drone holding pills.
Right, that's true. The abortion drone.
The abortion drone. Second, the Polish people wanted to say thank you, so they sent a submarine to Germany to say thank you, but it never got there because it had screen doors, because it's a Polish submarine. Everybody who grew up going to the Catskills is going to love that joke about the Polish submarine with screen doors.
I have no idea what that is.
See, Amber, my girl, no, don't worry about it. So one of those old, like, Polak jokes. Anyhow, what I think about this in general is, like, sure, that's great. Give them the abortion pills if they need it. I think it's a good way to start a discussion about, like, broadening the availability of abortions in Poland, which has a long record of banning that.
Yeah.
And also, it's no coincidence that they have a reputation for being the stupid ones.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Come on, Brett.
You're going to get mad at the Polish parliament
We're not getting into
wouldn't
this.
pass a law unless they had a 100% agreement on every vote. That is inherently stupid.
Okay, I agree with that, but that doesn't mean that that Polish people are stupid. Why are we having a discussion about this? Anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked by Brett's shenanigans. All right, I think that this is not only an issue in Poland, but it's an issue in a lot of Latin American countries that follow religious regulations. It's an issue in Middle Eastern countries, and it's becoming more and more of an issue in the United States. So people who risk getting arrested or charged with crimes just to send out this message, in my opinion, are heroes, okay? I love these women. I love what they're doing. I agree with Hannah that the messaging and the marketing is not necessarily the best. Once you use the word feminist in any type of mission, people get turned off. So that kind of sucks. Here's the question for the story, though. What's one thing that you would like drones to deliver to you on a weekly basis? Hannah.
Food. Lots of food. There's nothing worse than going to an empty fridge. Like when you're hungry and you want to, or late night snacks and you open the fridge and there's nothing in there. I just want a drone to bring me Nutella.
Nutella drone. It's way more awesome than the abortion drone. Coincidentally, I'd like abortion pills. So that's fine. And now I know that it's doable. But that's only if they couldn't bring me drones. Because then I have minions of drones. Every week, another drone. Send it out. Do my bidding.
Oh, you're the guy who's like, oh, what would you want for your wish? You'd be like, 3 more wishes.
Yep, that's it.
You're ridiculous. Choose one product.
What
that
about
want
you?
delivered. No, you answer the question.
Sandwiches.
Okay, good.
Full of little abortion pills. Little tiny abortion pill sandwiches.
This guy's too much. I hate buying makeup for work. I hate it. I hate going into Sephora. I hate going into MAC.
Yes.
MAC is the bane of my existence, okay? And what I usually do is I wait until I run out, so it's too late for me to order online. So I would have a drone deliver my makeup to me, so I never have to step foot in a Sephora or a MAC store ever again.
You know what? You should get one of those Amazon buttons. Amazon has these buttons. They're little Wi-Fi sticky buttons, and it's just a button you put next to your makeup, and then you go on Amazon and you pre-program what you want them to order. So when you start running out, you just literally push the button, and it puts your order through.
No way.
Best weird invention ever.
Does that really exist?
That exists right
Okay,
now.
I gotta look
for
into
free.
that, and I should note that they are not our sponsors, but we're giving them some love anyway.
Yeah, and they will probably send it via drone very soon.
Do it. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this clip. I want to hear your thoughts, though. So tell us what you would like a drone to deliver to you every week. And also, what do you think about this abortion story? Do you think that this is an effective way of getting a message across, or do you think it could have been done in a different way? Comment in the section below, and we'll see you soon. One woman got pregnant after drinking a detox tea, and she didn't realize that even if she's taking birth control pills, this detox tea is so powerful in flushing out her digestive system that it essentially made her birth control pills ineffective. Now, the woman in question here is Naomi Salt. There she is, very beautiful woman. And she was taking Teatox after Christmas. She's now 6 months pregnant. She realized that her pregnancy was due to her Teatox intake, and so she wanted to figure out what was going on. She went to the website for the product, and she found that under frequently asked questions, there was a portion that indicated that taking this tea, referred to as boo tea, which is very clever, flushes out the digestive system with a laxative effect. The laxative can affect the pill if taken 4 hours after or 4 hours prior to the laxative effect. So basically it flushes out the birth control pill, and that makes it ineffective. So the program involves drinking an herbal tea every morning with a separate infusion every other evening for 14 to 28 days. I'm going to tell you guys something. I know that it's disastrous because she got pregnant, but this story just tells me that the product actually works. And so now I'm thinking about buying it. Hannah, make your point.
I think, if you're going to do any sort of diet thing, that you should definitely read the instructions. But at the same time, if it's something so serious as, I don't know, getting pregnant and bringing a child into the world, I think the company should be a lot more diligent about notifying the users on their packaging. Like, I drink tea. I don't read the package before tea. I drink tea. You know what I mean? You think it's such like an herbal thing, an everyday thing, that you don't even think that it could have an effect on certain medications. So they obviously should be a lot more diligent.
Absolutely.
What I find ironic is that this tea is intended to improve the shape of your body, and then it ends up getting you pregnant, which ruins your body forever. Secondly, she looked it up on the frequently asked questions page. And
That's clearly a problem that's happened.
And I hope the question that prompts the answer is just, what the fuck?
I know. It's amazing. Well, unfortunately, she has a steep hill to climb.
That's what you do to tea. And I know that because a Polish friend taught me.
I'm not good at jokes, but I feel like I nailed it with that one.
You did.
All right. Here's the question for the story. The question is, what diet trend have you fallen for and tried? Hannah.
So I tried juicing. I signed up for a 3-day juice cleanse. I was so enthusiastic about it. In fact, I got my mom and my sister to it. I was like, we're going to juice, we're going to lose weight, it's going to be so sexy, I'm going to look good in a bikini. I lasted like 24 hours.
Why? What was it like?
I hated it because you're just drinking liquids, and I don't like.
You're drinking sugary liquid.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is I got such a headache from so much sugar.
Yes.
It was too much sugar in my body. I felt sick. I felt gross.
What did you juice? What fruits?
There were fruits, there were veggies, there were green juices and red juices. There were all different kinds of juices, and then I stopped and I got a burger.
Nice. Good for you.
Yes.
I tried paleo for a similar amount of time.
Yes, preach.
But
preach. I've tried both. Paleo was my least favorite. Go ahead.
What's this? The juicing and paleo?
Yeah, juicing made me feel sick as well. After doing it the first day, that night I was like shivering in bed. It was hot. It was hot outside. It was summertime. But first of all, you're malnourished. Second of all, you're not getting any fiber from the fruit, which is the best part. And third of all, you're consuming sugary substances.
And no protein either.
No protein. Right. It's not good for you. Don't fall for that bullshit. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the paleo issue, what really stopped it, I'd like to say that it was like, I read that your body actually needs carbs. But no, it was like that we couldn't drink on it.
Oh.
You can't drink alcohol.
You can drink, I think, certain versions of tequila or something like
Stupid.
that.
That's where you realize it's terrible. Also, it ruins your life. A friend of mine was on paleo. We went to Disneyland, and they wouldn't let her bring her little cooler in, so we had to leave the park and go to that shitty little picnic area by the tram.
Man.
It was terrible.
It
ruins Disneyland.
Yeah, here's the thing. You guys already know which diets I've tried. I just mentioned them right now. I tried Whole30, which is essentially paleo, but the only thing that's ever worked for me in terms of keeping in shape is moderation. You can have whatever you want. Just don't binge. Don't eat all the chocolate and don't eat all the cake and ice cream and whatever. Balance your diet, okay? Eat healthy and then allow yourself to have a little treat. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's all about calories in, calories out. Yes, it's important to have good substantive calories, but at the end of the day, it's all about making sure you're active and for the most part, you're eating healthy.
One diet I have been able to stick to is the all the chocolate diet. So when I tried all the chocolate, I can do that.
That's the easiest to stick to.
There's something called intuitive eating. So you basically, like, whatever you feel like you're craving, you go for it. So if you really, really need that chocolate, but if you start to adopt like a more healthy diet, you'll actually start craving those healthy
You're
foods.
so right.
And then you'll feel sick when you eat the shitty stuff and you won't want to do it anymore.
That's very true.
How about the eat and wait a minute diet? That's what I need to do. The eat, because your body will just eat for 20 minutes. And if you're shoving food in your face,
Yeah.
you will eat all the food.
It takes a while for your body to respond to the food you're eating. So
Yeah.
it might take you a while to feel full. And in the meantime, if you're not patient enough, you're stuffing your face when you don't really need to. All right, guys, comment in the section below and tell me if you've ever fallen victim to some of these diet fads. I love hearing your stories. We do read your comments and we do respond to some of them. So share your stories below and we'll see you soon. The used panty business is a thing. Now, you might have seen this on Orange is the New Black, spoiler alert, where certain businesses include women who wear underwear and then they sell them to men who get turned on by them. Well, after that aired on Orange is the New Black, apparently the used panty business has experienced a boom. All right, let me give you some examples. So if you look at this Google chart, Google Trends shows the search term sell used panties experienced the biggest global spike ever following the June 12th premiere of Orange is the New Black. Now, one of the websites that does this is pantydeal.com, and they had an increase in the number of people who registered shortly after the premiere. The site usually registers about 150 people a day. After the premiere, about 1,000 people signed up in one day. Sellers can actually make a lot of money, between $500 to $700 a month.
I definitely want that girl's panties. Ew.
Apparently, women make more if they're suffering from a yeast infection, and they can. What? No.
Is that true?
I just made that up.
It's probably true
No,
then.
it's probably true.
Selling your panties sounds like you made it up. Like yeast infection, probably also true.
I can't believe this is a thing. It's disgusting, and I'm considering doing it. Hannah, make your point.
I think it's awesome. I think if you can make money this way, this just seems business heavy. You're going to do it anyway. And if you can make money off of that, that's great. I love that they're doing using fake bodily fluids. And they'll make like different mixtures to seem like it was worn, even if you haven't worn it. It just shows how gross and desperate some people on the internet can be.
Ay. Brett, what do you think? Make your point. Are you into used panties?
Well, to think I've just been giving all my used panties away for free. You know, it's a problem. No, I get it. I know people who like are in the adult industry and like have been thinking about this for a long time, and now it might be too late to make your entree into the industry. I like to see that the sell used panties spiked, but did the buy used panties spike? Like, or is this an inelastic demand?
I feel like there's probably a market out there and a pretty.
Well, are there people like I watched Orange is the New Black, but I knew about panty selling. Are there people who are like, wait a minute, I do want to smell used panties. Go.
Maybe,
Send them my way.
Maybe that's a really good point. I think that Google Trends should release a report on that as well. Here's the question for the story, though. What's the weirdest fetish that you've ever heard of, Hannah?
This was actually something that we talked about on the show on Think Tank. There's this thing, it's called figurine porn.
What?
So basically, it's pornographic images or videos of people ejaculating on small action figures.
What?
I know.
You know, okay, so that's obviously a strange fetish, sure, but like no one's getting harmed in that fetish, so I'm okay with it. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute, my childhood is getting harmed. You're
whatever.
jizzing on G.I. Joe. G.I. Jizz.
G.I. Jizz. That would have been a good master if we did that story on the Young Turks.
I'm hoping you're going to share the fetish that you shared with me.
What was it, the juicing one?
Yeah, it was a smoothie, I believe you told me
Smoothies.
about.
People just put smoothies in their butts, right? And then poop them into other people's mouths.
Oh my God!
Wow, that's a reaction.
Brett made me watch a video. You just think it's horrifying to hear. Brett forced me to watch a video.
To be fair, I'd kind of forgotten about that. I like cake farts as my favorite. If you are at home right now, hit pause on the video, go Google cake farts, and make sure you get the one where the woman goes out and says, you know what I like the most? Cake farts. Then she just farts on a cake.
Oh my God.
How about you?
I was just gonna say cuckolding, but cuckolding seems totally normal compared to what you guys mentioned. Do you know what cuckolding is?
I know it involves Shakespearean dramas.
No, it does not.
Thou art cuckolded.
Cuckolding is where a woman has sex with another man in front of her husband, and her husband gets turned on by it. That exists. Tell us what you guys think is the weirdest not prank.
Yeah.
Weirdest fetish. We do want to hear from you though, so seriously, do comment in the section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. This show's awesome. So subscribe. We'll see you later. We love you. Bye-bye. If you're an 18-year-old man, you should probably consider freezing your sperm because the longer you wait, the more mutations your sperm may have. At least that's what one doctor is urging men to do. His name is Dr. Kevin Smith, and he gives some pretty questionable statistics about what happens to sperm as men get older. So just to give you an example, he says that the older you get, the more likely you are to pass genetic diseases to your offspring. Another researcher by the name of Carrie Stephenson actually agrees with him. She says a 36-year-old father gives twice more new mutations to his child than a 20-year-old father does, and a 50-year-old father gives about 4 times the number of mutations. This is not a subtle effect. This is a very, very large effect, and it increases the probability that a mutation may strike a gene that is very important, which can lead to disease. Now, fertility doctors also disagree with Smith. There are some that say, look, freezing sperm is not as effective as people think it is. It could actually cause problems in the process of freezing it. One expert in male fertility says that male sperm doesn't freeze very well, so men who do freeze their sperm also have to go through IVF in order to get their significant other or their wife pregnant. So it's much more complicated than it seems. But I have kind of thought a little bit about maybe freezing my eggs just because I'm getting older. I'm turning 29 really soon. And so maybe that's an option, especially because the newer your eggs are, the better you are at having a healthy child, right? Brett, make your point.
Here's the thing. I watch a lot of kitchen nightmares. And one thing Gordon Ramsay says is, don't freeze it. Freezing's bad. And I know that when I freeze stuff, thaw it, and then try to cook it and eat it, not that I do that with sperm, but there's an idea. You can tell it's been frozen.
Right.
Plus, think about telling your kid, that's cool if someone told me I was frozen for 18 years. But if you have one kid that happened because you had sex and the other kid that happened because of frozen sperm, so that the older one is actually younger than the younger one. It's what do you do? It's will that kid come out just intuitively wanting to dress in the styles of the early 2000s?
I think you might have thought about this a little too much.
Fair enough.
Right?
It's
All
possible.
right.
Happens
Okay.
often.
Have you thought about freezing your sperm?
Well, how about this? Ever since they said that when you get older, your sperm has deformities, my balls have actually hurt thinking about it.
So would you freeze your sperm?
I don't think so.
No.
I just don't believe it works yet. It probably does, but I just haven't read the science. I need to ask real doctors about it.
All right. Okay, that's a good answer. Hannah, what about you?
Yeah, so I don't know the specifics of how it works medically, if it's beneficial or how IVF works later if you do this. But what I do like about this article coming out is I think society as a whole kind of blames the woman if there's a lot of issues. So if there's age or she didn't do this or her eggs are messed up and blah, blah, blah. So I like the idea that there's a discussion now about some of these things that can happen during pregnancy could be because the guy was a little older. And so I like that it's having that conversation. It's this is a team sport.
Wait,
really
is
is.
it true that society blames the woman? Who blames the woman?
Because it's
The
women's
phrase
older.
biological clock always applies to a woman, but men also have a biological clock. I mean,
Right,
of
this
course,
is introducing
their
the
clock is
idea
much later, but they still do have a biological clock. The older you get, the less likely it is that you're going to have a healthy baby. It's an unfortunate reality that I know scientists are trying to somehow mitigate, but it exists. And I'm not saying that this is something that has to do with gender wars. I just think that it's important to discuss both sides just so you maximize your possibility of having a healthy baby. Yep. So here's the personal question. What's your ideal age of having a child, Brett? Don't dodge this question.
I love that. That's what my girlfriend says all the time. My dad, when I was born, was 36. So I feel like, but at 33, he'd already had one. So I think around now is probably a good idea. Also, all my friends
Have babies?
have babies. So I need enough
Babies.
male and female babies so that regardless of which gender my firstborn is, I can use all their clothes. And learn enough from their mistakes.
That's a great point.
As
Your
a
age
younger
is
child
based off
myself.
Cost efficiency.
Cost efficiency and then trying not to mess up my offspring. That's what it is.
And knowledge.
I need
right?
to study my very smart friends, see where they messed up, and then not
it
make
better.
those mistakes.
All right.
It's
What
a
about you,
classic
Hannah?
younger sibling tactic.
It's smart. I like that idea.
I would say early 30s, 30-ish. I think by then, hopefully I'll have a man. I think also
You won't, but don't let that get
Shut
you
up.
down.
I think also my career will be in a better place. I want to make sure that that's really solid before I even start thinking about bringing another life into the world. Also maturity. I think that's so important when you have kids.
Yeah.
The lessons that you learn not only as an individual but also as somebody who's going to be teaching somebody something.
And Anna, what's your response? Because we all already know your mom is really into having a grandchild.
Yes, she is. My response is I am ready now. I'm ready now. I would ideally get married or at least engage in the next year and then get married soon and then have a baby soon. I feel like I got everything else on lockdown. I'm comfortable in my career. I don't know what's next for me. I'm a little bored.
You're a little bored.
Keeping it 100.
Girl, I get that. Like, I have times where I just walk around going like, I really don't have anything to do or want.
Yeah, and the stuff that used to appeal to me, like going out dancing all night, getting drunk, just acting crazy, doesn't appeal to me at all anymore.
Right, and you don't want a baby because you're over all that.
Right.
You want a baby to make your life so miserable that you'll want to go back to dancing every night. Does that make sense?
Oh my God.
To keep you up at night, going like, oh my God, I need to get out of the house. And that's a motivation.
I think
not
you're
to
gonna be a
nurture
great
a new
father.
life.
I know. He
What a
sounds
great
awesome.
father.
He
Check
that out
seems
on
like
the town.
fatherhood is just lovely. He's really looking forward to it. All right, guys, tell us what you think. What's your ideal age to have a child? And also, what do you think about freezing your sperm or freezing your eggs? Have you ever considered it? We want to hear your story, so comment in the section below, and we'll see you soon. An online Indian magazine is trying to raise the issue of discrimination against men, okay? So of course we have MRA movements and individuals who feel that women are now getting all the priorities where men get the shorter end of the stick. But MagCom uploaded an article called Don't Mancriminate. Now, what is that about? The post highlights a number of different things, perceived disadvantages that men are currently going through in society. The post actually features male celebrities that consider themselves feminists, and they wanted nothing to do with this campaign, but nonetheless, their images were used. So let's take a look at the first one. It's a picture of Jude Law, and it says, "Short men don't have heels, ugly men don't have makeup, stupid men can't be blonde." Except the last one you could do, and I
Yeah.
don't think people would really judge you for it. I think the first two are a little ironic because the heels and the makeup were kind of pushed on women by men to look desirable enough for them. So
Yeah.
it was a male expectation of female beauty, and I get what they're saying. Like, all right, well, if I'm unattractive, what are my options? Okay, good point. But
Yeah,
but
what
that's-
are our options? What are our options,
Feels
Kasparian?
incriminated.
Do you
what-
feel man-criminated?
Right now, I do. Here's the thing.
Let's get you some tape.
Here's what I believe, okay? There was a point in society where women weren't allowed to wear pants, okay? It was unacceptable for women to wear pants. And then women finally decided to say, you know what? I fucking like pants, and I'm gonna put them on, and I'm gonna rock them. And so if men wanna wear makeup, by all means, wear the makeup. Have a movement. Do your thing. You wanna wear foundation? By the way, if a guy wears foundation, maybe it's because I'm in this industry, I don't get turned off by it. I don't think to myself, oh my God, he's wearing makeup. If you
Really?
no, I don't really care. I mean, if he's wearing like eyeliner and stuff, I would find it a little jarring.
See,
but
I think a little eyeliner on the pinky and like that, no one knows you're doing it, but it does accentuate the eye.
Great.
That's a
Nothing
trick
wrong with
that
that.
I've learned from being in this industry that people have done to me, and I'm like, what are you putting makeup? Oh, wow, that does look good.
Right? Okay, look, here's the moral of the story. Do whatever makes you happy, okay? And also, there are real issues that actually do impact men, whether it has to do with child support, alimony, the way men are treated in the justice system versus the way women are treated in the justice system, there are legitimate concerns. But unfortunately, you have clowns like this that point to non-issues and they take the legitimate messages away from the movement. So it's kind of annoying, right? And I hate hearing stories from MRAs that are like, oh, these women want us to hold doors open for them. That's not the biggest issue among you guys, okay? The biggest issue is something that unfortunately you're not effective in, pushing. And people don't take you seriously as a result of that. That's my point.
Yeah.
Make your point.
Everyone who complains about the, let the lady go first, open the door for them, is so stupid. And not because, that is a terrible that's a good convention to have. But it's like a list of, 6 things that'll make people like you more. So why don't you just do those 6 things, idiot?
And
They're
also,
giving you a list. I do think that this man, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, the whole opening the door thing, I think everyone should open the door for everyone, right? So there's been numerous times where I've held a door open for people that are walking behind me, because it's just the nice thing to do. I think we've moved past the gender thing. And again, it's such a tiny little non-issue that takes away from any type of legitimate message that you're trying to get out there. It's so dumb.
Here's what I think about this whole don't mancriminate thing in general. It's not serious. It really points a light at one of the fundamental male skills, which is to piss women off. And this is so good at it because it has all those little things that sound like they're serious. And then there's one thing like stupid men can't be blonde. I don't get to feel sympathy. I don't get free entry. I don't get free drinks. It's so good satirically at saying, not at making a larger point, because really it should feed back into some kind of social moray and point it's making. No, all this is doing is just pissing women off. And it's really good at it. I don't think it's helping anybody, but I think it's kind of funny.
Hannah, what do you think?
I wonder if it is a satire, because there's no way any sane human could compare equal pay and civil rights to getting free drinks at the club. I wonder if it really is a satire, and to say, you said, making a mockery of the struggles that men really do face.
Right.
These are not real struggles that they have to go through. And I also think, my last little point, is that people fill different social functions. It has nothing to do with equality. You can open the door, you can be a gentleman, and women fill different roles too. Women, maybe if they cook for you. It doesn't mean I'm an anti-feminist if you want to cook for your man at night.
I totally
People
agree.
fill different social functions. It has nothing to do with equality and treatment and with politics.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Very well put. So here's the question. Which double standard bothers you the most? Brett, 30 seconds.
Double standard bothers me the most. They don't really bother me. I would love free drinks at the bar. I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
I'd love it to be like if I was standing outside the club.
The club.
If I was outside the club and I was in line and I'm sad, and the bouncer came out and was like, you three dudes, you guys come to the front of the line. We need more dudes in here. I would love that.
I would actually love that as well, because if I go to a club, I don't go there to mix and mingle with other women. I go there to mix and mingle with other men.
Well, here's
right?
the thing, is by default, there will be more men at the club.
Sometimes no. Sometimes
reason
there's
they
a bunch of hoochies running around, and I'm like, come on, give me some men. I'm just keeping it real. We gotta
Okay.
go. So Hannah.
My point is sex. I think so many
Yeah.
women have so many hang-ups later in life because they're told if they seek it out and if they enjoy it, they're called sluts.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really unfortunate double standard.
That is exactly what my answer was going to be. If you don't have sex, you're considered a prude. If you do have sex, you're considered a slut. You can't win if you're a woman, which is why, in my opinion, do what you genuinely want to do. If you want to sleep with someone, do it. Don't feel guilty about it. Be proud that you feel liberated enough to do it.
Okay, I just, definitely that is a valuable point to make. Definitely as a dude in 9th grade, if you're not doing it, there's a lot of pressure. You have no game.
9th grade? That's 14.
Everyone's blowing each other in the bathrooms in 8th grade.
I don't know what
Prove it,
happened
Rainbow
at your
Party.
school.
Tell us what you
it's a
guys
repressive
think
Catholic
of Brett's
school.
commentary in this segment. Okay, some of you might agree with him, some of you might disagree with him, and I want to read all of those responses.
Yeah, unfairly put at odds what I said against what they said, as though I am disrespecting their point of view whatsoever, as
No,
opposed to
you're
just
not,
pointing
you're
a
not.
light in the positive. male response in the dialogue, but not a
I got it.
mancrimination.
The ninth graders feel really bad that they can't get their dick wet. Oh, okay. Anyway, comment in the section below. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. All right. I want to give you guys an opportunity to plug some of your work. Brett Erlich, go ahead.
Yeah, just subscribe to me on Periscope because I will Photoshop butts on your Instagram. And it's really fun. We had like 500 people watching yesterday as I Photoshop butts on this girl's family.
Your parents must be really proud of you. Hannah.
You can watch me on Think Tank every day of the week. You can also follow me on Instagram at run_HMC.
All right, guys, I'm Anna Kasparian. You can check me out on The Young Turks Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Just go to youtube.com/TheYoungTurks or download our TYT app and follow me on Instagram, Anna Kasparian TYT. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week, and never be afraid to make your point. What's up, everyone? Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, Anna Kasparian, and we have awesome panelists for you guys on this week of the show. In fact, we have Brett Erlich, who's always acting crazy.
What?
So I'm looking forward to your shenanigans on the program today.
Interesting you should say that.
Now,
Not as interesting as when I do it with another pen.
you know, usually I tell the audience more about the panelists, but why don't you tell them? Who are you, Brett Erlich?
I'm Brett Erlich. I've been coming here for weeks just trying to rehabilitate myself. I'm the co-host of Pop Trigger on the Young Turks Network. Also, you can check out my own YouTube channel at youtube.com/viralvideos.
All right.
And also Periscope, where I Photoshop butts on your Instagram.
That sounds great. So we're having a TYT extravaganza today because our second panelist is Hannah Cranston. Of course, you guys know her. She is the co-host, or I should say host, of Think Tank, also on the TYT network. Hannah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about a lot of different stories today. Later on, I'm going to tell you why it's a really bad idea to drink detox tea if you're also taking birth control pills. That's a pretty shocking story. And then later on, a campaign pushed by men who are tired of being discriminated against. Do they have any real argument? We're going to debate that and more. Now let's get started with what I would argue is the biggest news story of the week. A woman, it was put up as a symbol of resistance to racial integration. So that flag is about racism. Everyone knows it. Everyone will have a ridiculous argument or debate about it, but the reality is it has to do with race, it has to do with racism, it has to do with disenfranchising an entire group of people in this country. I want to know what you guys think. Brett, make your point.
She's definitely not a threat to society. She might be a threat to flags, but not to society. I don't think we need to put her in jail, but I totally agree with taking the flag down. When I hear her get up on the top of the flagpole and say, I'm doing this in the Jesus' name, that's where I'm like, oh God, you're trying to talk about separation of racism from the state house, but then you're invoking like religion to do so. Why don't you just go up and take the flag down?
Right, let's take a look at the video of her as B-roll. Let's put the audio down while Hannah makes her point.
Yeah, so I think the biggest offense here is that such a sign of hatred and bigotry is considered a monument. That's what bothers me the most about this entire thing. I think she's a hero. I think if we kind of look at history, people who have set history on the right path have always ruffled feathers. Think about Rosa Parks. Like, she was arrested, but she did something that then made a change later. So I think Bree Newsome is going to be that in the future when we're looking at her in the history books.
Exactly. Political protests aren't supposed to be convenient. They're not supposed to be easy. You don't get any real change by following the law and not stirring the pot. So I'm really proud of what she did, and I think that it sends a really strong message. Now, here's the personal question for the story. What's one cause that you would risk getting arrested for, Brett?
Robbery.
Okay.
I believe in it staunchly, and if I have to get arrested so I can get cool stuff, so be it.
Fair enough. All right. I don't know if that's really a political issue.
I really don't think I have any.
Nothing. So you wouldn't be arrested for it. You wouldn't be willing to get arrested.
I just think a lot of people, when they like, I'm gonna go get arrested for this.
Yeah.
Like with this one, it was like we're gonna vote on it on the 6th. Like, why? It's just, I want to get this last little flag climb in there before they, it might come down anyway. I think it's like.
But if there was somebody who is so hateful about your group of people, or any group of people really in the United States, wouldn't you want to remove that sign of
Right,
that
but
hate
like,
as soon as
to get
possible?
it, I mean, it's a little thing to try to do this. I mean, the news story's already out there. When people talk about last week in news, they say that like South Carolina is going to vote to take the flag off the State House. She's just trying to get her name in there, I think.
You know
I
what? I have no
disagree.
problem with that. If there's some element of publicity in this story, I don't have an issue with it because the cause is a real cause. It's a real political issue.
Don't doubt it. So when I think about the issue, I'm all.
Climbed a flagpole in North Carolina to take down the Confederate flag. Of course, there was a lot of controversy regarding the Confederate flag after a man by the name of Dylan Roof shot and killed 9 innocent black people during a Bible studies class. Now, Bree Newsom was tired of seeing the Confederate flag. She is an activist, and she thought it was absolutely ridiculous that authorities in her area were going to decide whether or not they would take down the Confederate flag sometime in July. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm going to take it down now. So she climbed that flagpole, took it down, and she got arrested as a result of that. Now, she was arrested with her counterpart, James Tyson, and she was charged with defacing monuments on state capitol grounds. She, after she's been charged, she has been fined, or could be fined, up to $5,000, and she faces 3 years in jail. Let's stop right there for a second. 3 years in jail for taking down a flag. Jail is supposed to be for people who are a threat to society. I don't really know or think that Bree Newsom is a threat to society. But nonetheless, there is a crowdfunding page that has raised upwards of $120,000 to help her pay for her bail. The South Carolina legislature is set to vote on taking down the Confederate flag, but that won't happen until later in July. Now, the flag was raised in the State House back in 1962 when
For it. When I think about the messenger, which does not affect my opinion on the issue, and I say I focus way more on the issue, but if everyone's going to laud this woman for like doing this thing, it's like, they already said they were going to do something about it.
But it's not guaranteed that they're going to take the flag down. But nonetheless, I want Hannah to answer the question, is there a political cause that you would risk getting arrested for?
I think there's a lot of things that I would risk getting arrested for. I think any sort of fighting for equal treatment or fighting against bigotry is worth, putting handcuffs on my hand. I think that's something that we need to fight for in our country, and I would be willing to take that risk for sure.
I mean, I agree with you. There are a number of causes, but I think the cause that I feel strongly about is our justice system. So I would, ironically, risk getting arrested by protesting for-profit prisons, because for-profit prisons have totally destroyed our justice system. But I want to know whether or not you guys would risk getting arrested for a political cause. Maybe you're part of Wolfpack here at TYT Network. You want to get money out of politics. Would you risk getting arrested for that or anything else? Comment in the section below. We love hearing from you guys, and we'll see you soon. Kanye West is known for interrupting people, especially during award ceremonies. There was that notorious situation where he went up on stage as Taylor Swift was accepting a Grammy, and he basically said that she didn't deserve the Grammy. Well, there's a comedian who decided to pull the same type of stunt with him as he was performing. So here's Kanye West performing, and all of a sudden, a